This video is to demonstrate some care strategies during this global pandemic that we're all facing. So how do we effectively give close contact care when we're supposed to be avoiding close contact the best we can with the social distancing, despite even wearing a mask? So this video will give some strategies and highlight some just interesting ways where we have to think outside of the box during this time. I also want to helpfully relieve some of the stress that we're all feeling by giving a different approach. So one strategy that I've seen work very well if you're having a difficult time communicating with your patient. Obviously they can't see our faces. It's difficult for them to even understand what we want them to do, especially if they have dementia or hard of hearing. So one way that you all are doing a really good job, I see you out there, is this almost game of charades, where now we're using visual cues. So if I needed to change this patient's Johnny, I would be speaking, they perhaps can't hear me. If I hold it up and say, it's time to change your Johnny, this will allow some better communication, which will limit my conversation. I don't want to speak too much. Even though I have a mask on, it is never 100% effective. So I want to protect my patient from my potential droplet transmission and keep my patient safe as well as not spread germs through the building. Another thing is, what if you're doing an assistive 2 with a coworker? So we're here to change the pad on the bed. I would have a coworker with me, potentially as assistive 2, if I needed that. I want to limit my conversation with the coworker. Once again, you want to minimize the amount of talking that you're actually doing with each other in a close contact situation, as well as especially over your residents. If I'm having an active conversation with a coworker on this side of the bed, I'm over my patient. That's an increased risk during these pandemic times. So basically you're sharing the minimal that you need to share. In the event washing someone, same thing. I'm describing, it's time to wash your bottom, show a face cloth, they see my gloves, they understand what we need to do. That makes your patient less stressful as well. If I have my patient seated, and say I'm washing their feet, their legs, and I'm now going to apply their shoe, most often you see, we do this every day, we're in front of our patient, down here applying the shoe, we're talking to them, and if I'm here, that's pretty close contact with their face. Once again, you want to think of strategies. How can I put their shoes on without being directly in front of them, potentially spraying droplets, even through a mask? So you can do a side approach. I'm now down, applying my patient's shoe. Now, patient's talking this way. As I'm talking, I can be talking, pronating my voice this way, or potentially, if they're hard of hearing, I can turn to the side and now project my voice behind them and not in a transfer in front of their face. Those are some of the strategies we really need to be thinking about. How can we do care outside of the box, still get care accomplished? We want, obviously, our patients to feel cared for, but we just have to be really creative in how we do it with intense infection control practices at all times. If you have other approaches, please share them with your supervisor and your coworkers, and we can all work together to get through these stressful times.